Greetings, fellow book lovers, and welcome back to Colin's Corner. Today, guys, we are doing my first ever tag video. I want to thank Theo over at the Rekindled Reader for tagging me in the This or That challenge. So I'm going to do something a little bit different here. I usually take a little bit of notes and practice before I go to film a video, but I'm not going to do that. So you're gonna have to forgive me here. I'm gonna be looking down because I have the prompts written on my iPad, and I'm just gonna kind of go off the cuff and answer with my heart right off the bat, and see what happens. So without anything further, let's get into this tag video. The first prompt is paperback or hardback. So in terms of reading, physically reading, obviously paperback is my preferred method because most of the time that I read, I'm reading in bed. And don't get me wrong, I'm not some kind of monster. I'm not bending my cover back. I'm trying my hardest not to crack the spines, but it's just a little bit more comfortable to read with a paperback. They're easier to pack if I'm going somewhere. But in terms of my bookshelves, I prefer hardbacks. I think they look cleaner. I think they look nicer. But I'm a reader, so I'm going to have to go with paperbacks for this answer. Second question is Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings? I'm gonna have to go with Lord of the Rings, and this is a tough one because Harry Potter, like for many other people, is a big reason why I am a reader today. The Lord of the Rings is just something extremely special. I just read it for the first time this last year, and I just I already can't get enough of Middle Earth. I feel like I learned a little. I just want to keep digging deeper. I want to live there. I want to eat the lembas bread. Like I just want to hang out with the hobbits. I want to go to Rivendell. Like it was just such a I was just amazed at so many different points throughout this journey at how wonderfully Tolkien created this world. So I'm going to have to go with Lord of the Rings here, although I love Harry Potter and it will always hold a very special place in my heart. The third prompt is real books or ebooks. I would say like about a year ago, this would have been a very easy real books for me. And the reason for that is because I did not yet own a Kindle. Um, I had tried reading on my iPad and I could not stand it. There was something about the screen where my stamina was just not there when I was reading on my iPad or my computer. And so I always just kind of stuck to real physical books. However, once I bought the Kindle, I am able to read just as long, if not longer, on the ebook. So I don't mind it as much, but at my heart, I will always be a physical book lover. But with that being said, like the Kindle is nice. Like I can lay in bed and read without bugging my wife. If I have a book on Kindle, I have the Kindle app. So if I have an extra 10 or 15 minutes while I'm waiting for an appointment and I didn't bring a book with me, I can pop open the app. I can get a little bit of reading done, and it's nice that I don't have to worry about space with the Kindle. I can just kind of buy as many books as I want. Like I don't think I'd ever run out of space on there. But my answer is gonna have to be with real books because at my heart, like I said, like I just love holding a real book in my hands. I love the feel of the pages. I love the smell of the pages. As weird as that may seem, but yeah, that's gonna have to be my answer. It's gonna be real books. The fourth prompt is buying books or borrowing books. Now, I am taking this in terms of like borrowing books from a library, not like from friends. This is a tough one. I'm a book collector. I love to collect books. I though I understand the importance of the library and the library as a resource for a community. I mean, it's one of the only places in modern society where you can go and you aren't expected to spend money while you're there. You're just able to go in and use the library as a resource for entertaining books, for research for just a quiet place to be. But in terms of just the prompt, I'm gonna have to go with buying books, especially books that are near and dear to me, because I'm somebody that has a little bit of book amnesia. So I love to be able to go back and revisit. Not even if I just want to, like, if I don't even want to read the whole book, I can still go back and revisit favorite parts of my books or flip through illustrated editions that I have. And my book collection is something that I want to pass down to my daughter someday. So I've been a lot more selective recently in what I am buying in terms of quantity. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go with buying instead of borrowing. Read in bed or in a chair. Hmm. Reading in bed. I do most of my reading in bed. Um, with a kid and working and being in school, most of my reading time is done at night once everybody winds down and is kind of in their room. And usually, what I do is I'll just pop my headphones in, I'll put some white noise or something on while my wife is watching TV, and I'll read. And so that's kind of my comfort zone. It's not always the most comfortable place to read, just kind of sitting slouched over like that, but it's where I get most of my reading done. It is where I feel the most at home when reading. Although, as you guys have seen in some of my videos, I did build a pretty nice little corner of my house here for my little library, and I got a nice reading chair, and I do read in that a lot. But at the end of the night, just laying in bed reading with my wife next to me, that's my favorite place to be. Number 6 is book club or reading alone. Well, I'm gonna have to say the answer should be obvious. I am running a booktube channel, and one of the main reasons for that is I want to talk about books. I want to read them and experience them for myself, but then I want to hear other people's thoughts. I want to expand my horizons with these. I mean, you can only learn so much or glean so much from a text um, by yourself. One of the best things about this community is that I've been able to get so much more out of books than I ever would have before, because I'm listening to these discussions, and I'm hearing other people's points of views. Other people pick up on different aspects of the story that I might have overlooked or that I might have missed or I didn't think was important. So I'm definitely going to have to go with book club for this one. Library or bookstore? I think I kind of answered this one. It's going to have to be bookstore. Uh, even so, there was a period of my life where I wasn't reading for pleasure a lot. I would say like 6 or 7 years, maybe after high school, and I would still find myself periodically just like wandering into a bookstore. There's just something about the atmosphere in a Barnes and Noble or a Half Price Books or some secondhand, used bookstore that I just love. I love being surrounded by the books. I love picking things up and checking out the back cover. I love if they've got a little character. Maybe the pages are a little stained. Maybe the pages are browning a little bit. Maybe they're brand new and the cover hasn't even been opened yet. And I just love the atmosphere of a bookstore. I love hanging out in there and just kind of knowing that I'm surrounded by all these books and all these stories, and kind of, you know, being around like-minded people, other people that just kind of came to shop for books. So I'm gonna have to go with bookstore for this one. Nonfiction or fiction is the next prompt. Right now, it's fiction. I appreciate nonfiction for the many uses and importance of it, but I spent a lot of years as an adult. I spent a lot of years underestimating the importance of fiction books. I would say since reigniting my reading journey 3 or so years ago now, I've learned more about how to have empathy and compassion for other human beings through fictional characters and fictional worlds than I think I've learned in just real life experience. Fiction has a way of taking these fantastical ideas or other worlds and utilizing them to teach us a lesson in a way. If a good author has their hands on a story, they do it in a way that isn't preachy, but that can make you really think about some serious themes and some serious situations. So I have, over the past 3 years or so, grown very, very fond of reading fiction, and especially fantasy. So for this one, I'm gonna have to go with fiction. Print or audio? This is a tough one. Um, I got a library card about half a year ago, and I've been using. I don't have Audible or anything like that, but I've been using the library card to download books, audiobooks, and I'm in school right now, and I also deliver pizzas as my job, so I get a lot of audiobook listening time for my job. And let me tell you, a really good narrator for the right story can absolutely enhance the experience of a book. And so I have grown very, very fond of audiobooks, and I have such a great appreciation for hearing a really great performance. Um, Again, with that being said, this is kind of similar to the print or ebook question from earlier. At the end of the day, I'd still rather have a physical book in my hand. I'd rather use my own imagination and picture the characters. There's just something about like creating, that movie in my head and my character voices that I create and my visions for these characters. There's something about that you kind of lose with audiobook. Um, but with that being said, I really am enjoying both of them recently. New books or old books? I'm not really entirely sure what this question means. If it's talking about like older, like books that were published a long time ago, if it's physically talking about newer versus older books. I'm going to lean with newer versus older physical books. Um, I prefer newer, but I have been doing a lot of thrifting, trying to find, like at Goodwills and half price books, like some cool older, like maybe first edition Stephen King books or some other first editions of books that, from other series that I like. This is another one that a year ago I probably would have said new books. It's kind of a toss up now. I look at my bookshelf and I've got some used books, I've got some older books, I've got some brand new books, and I kind of like the little like conglomerate of books with character and new books, brand new books that I haven't even opened yet, kind of aesthetic that I've got going on. So if I had to pick one, I'm gonna have to say new books, but this one's very close. And the last prompt is short chapters versus long chapters. This depends. With fantasy books, I feel like I personally enjoy not long chapters, but maybe longer chapters. I So if it's like a thriller or like for example Dark Matter, which I just read by Blake Crouch, those short, exciting, like get to the next chapters were a lot of fun and they kept me engaged. That book was such a page turner. But if I'm reading like an epic fantasy book, I actually really enjoy um, living in the chapter, the part of the story that we're in for a while, and kind of like getting familiar with it. Um, and kind of the more that I read, the more I realize that like yes, chapters when you're reading are a nice like visual goal to hit. Like okay, I got to the next chapter, I got to the next chapter. But like when I put my bookmark in the book at the end of the night and I see like how far I read, it doesn't even really matter. Like I've been recently, like I just sometimes stop in the middle of a chapter if there's like 10 pages left and I'm just too tired to get through it. But I managed to read 15 pages out of the chapter. Like I feel like reading those 15 pages versus not finishing, not even starting it because the chapter was so long. I'd rather take the 15 pages and kind of progress through the book a little bit. So I'm gonna have to go with long chapters, I think, just because I've been reading mainly fantasy and I really enjoy them in that fantasy setting. All right, last thing, guys, is I have to tag someone. I'm going to tag two people. I'm going to tag Usman over at Bards and Books. Go check his channel out. He's got an awesome aesthetic over there. He talks about metal music and also some fantasy books. And the other person I'm going to tag is Robert from Punk Rock Cereal Bowl. He's got some really cool videos. He does these song book reviews. They're awesome. He puts obviously a ton of work into these. So go show those channels some love. Robert and Usman, let me know when you make these videos because I definitely want to check out your answers. Thanks again for checking out today's video, guys. And remember, you are always welcome in Colin's Corner.